So, welcome to the Oh My John podcast.
Ngozi joins us today on the show. Thanks so much, Ngozi, for your time. I know you're busy, so I'm not going to take much of your time. Before we start, I wanted to ask you one very crucial question.
Bring it on.
Yeah. How do white people pronounce your name? I'm asking this because I grew up here in Italy, and Italians can mispronounce African names like no one's business. So
Really?
Yeah. So how do white people pronounce your name?
So you know what? I think it's not even just white people, it's American people in general. And so I think I've always went by Ngozi. So I've gotten all types of crazy things. I think somebody even called me Elijah once. And
Wow.
so they just get very intimidated when they see that name.
Wow.
And so it's quite funny, to be honest.
Fantastic. I remember the first time I heard about a Nigerian bobsled team. I was so curious, but when I searched for an interview of you girls on YouTube, I heard your deep American accent, and I was like, these guys are so invested in the American culture. But after a while, I saw another video of you guys dancing to some Afrobeat, and I said, okay, very good.
Yeah.
Yes, you guys are born again now. So I'm going to ask you directly, because a lot of young Nigerians who grew up abroad are watching you. How much do you feel invested in the Nigerian culture, even though you grew up in the US? You know, we Nigerians are very special. How much are you invested?
I think we say this in a lot of interviews. We grew up in America, but in our household, we were Nigerian first. And so our culture, just for the simple reason that we grew up in America, our culture was instilled in us that much more. Yeah. And so our parents made it very evident for the importance of our culture and why we should, want to learn about it. Specifically me, I'm Igbo, so I learned like stuff earlier and certain sayings because my parents spoke Igbo in our household. And so I think that culture for us has always been very important just because we weren't originally born in Nigeria.
Wow. You speak Igbo?
I don't, but I can hear it, and I'm learning right now, so bear with me.
Before we get to your album, I wanted to talk briefly on your journey to the Winter Olympics. I followed all the video blogs you guys made prior to the Olympics, and the perception here of how the Nigerian bobsled team was created seemed very casual. It looked like you just started a band. Yeah, you got the drummer.
A band with no singing.
Exactly. You got the drummer, you got the guitarist, and before you knew it, you're playing at Wembley Stadium. And I know all of you girls were athletes already, but it looked like you went from 0 to 100 in one day. So is this perception of overnight celebrity status, is this perception correct?
Yeah, I think it is kind of true, just because we didn't have the time to just really think things through. I think that we knew what we needed to do, and we found a way to do it. And Sean knew two people that could do it, which was me and Aquama. And she, we joined the team, and it wasn't any taking things slow. We knew the Olympics was at that time a little less than 2 years or a year and a half away at that point. And so we knew we needed 2 seasons to get those 5 races on 3 different tracks, and so it did go 0 to 100. We learned, we started, we didn't know anything, and then when next time we blinked our eyes, we were at the Olympic Games.
Wow. I just heard something from you. You called her Sean. Jesus Christ. Because her name is Sheun.
Hey, I call her what I've known her as. At the end of the day, like I only knew Sheun when we got in Nigeria, but I mean we were born here. She coached me, and I always called her Coach Sean. Wow. And so although I knew Sean is kind of like it's interchangeable to me.
Wow. Anyway, we all know that being a professional athlete is not easy revenue-wise, even when we see the best of athletes competing at the highest level possible. Their purse doesn't always match their achievements or their popularity. That's why I was very happy to see you guys become an internet sensation so quickly, because attention equals to opportunity. So how were you guys able to manage your media schedule with training for an entirely new sport?
I will say it was very difficult, and that was the aspect that was the most difficult for me, just because I think we talked about the possibility of like a lot of media outlets picking us up, but when it actually becomes a reality, that's when you really start to have to adjust. I remember going prior to the Olympics, going to Nigeria, and we didn't sleep. Like literally, we went to Nigeria for 3 days prior to actually going to the Olympic Games, and we barely got any sleep. And so that was just like, there's the entertainment side of things that people really don't see.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the actual, competing and getting out there, and then like people see you compete. But behind the scenes, it was pretty crazy. But altogether, it was a blessing, just because we didn't foresee that. And when we started out, doing bobsled, our whole main goal was to bring awareness, one, to Nigeria, two, to bring awareness to winter sports, and then also let people know that warm nations can do winter sports.
Right after the Olympics, I saw you guys did a short tour in Nigeria, and I saw a short clip of you arriving at the airport with all the fans waiting outside as if they're waiting for Davido. How was that feeling?
Yeah, it was amazing. Anytime we can go back to Nigeria, it's a good time. Like I said, growing up in America, sometimes you just value things more, and that's one of those things. You value going to Nigeria more just because it's not where you grew up. So any piece of culture that you can get, you value it. And every time we go home to Nigeria, we have a warm welcoming. And typically when I went back to Nigeria with my family, I would typically go to Imo State, which is where we're from. And so it was cool to be able to see the different parts of Nigeria. Like running track, I got to see Abuja, Port, Lagos most frequently now. And so it's cool to see the beauties of Nigeria and back home.
Now talking about your album, Mindless Thoughts. And by the way, congratulations. It sounds fantastic.
Thank you so much.
How long did it take you to put all this together?
Honestly, it was a long experience, just because prior to the Olympics, I came up with the idea that I actually wanted to finally put out an EP. I had been sitting on an EP for a long time, and so I really started planning for it prior to leaving for the Olympics, and then it just made more sense to release it after the Olympics, because I had been through so much, and I thought I could, kind of explain that better going through the experience.
And do you have any artists you look up to?
I mean, I have a lot of artists that I really admire their work. I wouldn't necessarily say look up to.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of great artists, up and coming artists, that a lot of people don't pay attention to, just because we pay attention to mainstream. But I will say, like, I like a wide variety of music, whether that's from Afrobeat to Sade, the greatest of, like R&B and stuff like that.
Do you follow the Nigerian music scene?
Somewhat. I'm not really huge on it. I listen to Nigerian music all the time. Of course, I go to weddings and stuff like that, and that's all that's played. So
we are taking over, right? Nigerians are the most talented musicians in the world, hands down.
Right.
You know that, right?
Yeah, and that's in everything, though. Not just in music.
Not just in music.
Nigerian excellence is all over the place. Check your professionals,
much.
Check your musicians, check anybody in the world that's doing something. It's a Nigerian.
Absolutely. Okay, so are you planning on doing any live shows?
Stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of things that are coming up soon, and a lot of things I have planned for the EP. The new thing about music for me is the business aspect. I just love to create, and so now I'm learning the back end of things, and the logistics of actually creating, promoting, and actually getting shows and stuff like that. So stay tuned. It definitely will be coming.
Okay. Do you have a favorite track from the EP?
I think every song was my favorite, because every song kind of means something to me. But I've been listening to some of my fans, and I think that the favorite amongst the fans right now is Diamonds. And that was a really fun track for me to make, just because I made it directly. That was one of the tracks I made directly after the Olympics. Like, I wrote it during the Olympics, and I was so excited to go back and record it, just because it meant so much to me, and it resonated with the experience that I had with the Olympics. So,
last question: have you ever tried to get Akoma into singing? Because she has this powerful deep voice. She sounds like someone who could sing. Have you ever tried to get her into singing?
Well, I think that we've always said that we're all into the arts, and so I think Akwama, she has her own discipline of the arts, and she writes. And so it wouldn't be far-fetched for her to sing. I remember back in the day, we used to laugh, because a lot of times she was my roommate at the Olympic Village. And so sometimes she would see me writing and preparing for the EP, and I would see her writing. I'm like, girl, maybe you should write for my EP and help me, or something like that. And so, she writes, and she's actually a very good writer. And so we'll see what happens in the future. I don't take anything off of the list.
Okay. Thanks so much, Ngozi, for your time. The Nigerian Italian fan base is proud of you, and we wish you the best. So keep us posted.
Thank you so much, and I love you guys too. Thank you for the support, and keep on streaming, keep on liking, keep on listening.